Welcome to our virtual yoga class. I'm here to support you in your practice. We'll begin class by laying on our backs. So take a moment to adjust yourself, noticing that your practice begins right now, even as you're transitioning to lay on the floor. And I'm saying this to emphasize this process that it's not about each pose, but it's also moving between the poses, transitioning. These are all part of our holistic yoga practice. So throughout your time on the mat, you'll be placing your attention as much as you can to your breath. Notice you're not doing anything incorrectly if your mind wanders, but you are cultivating a practice of returning to your body. This takes enormous effort, concentration, and focus. Inhale here, and then I recommend exhaling, sighing out. As we sigh out, we notice that immediate sensation in the body of releasing tension, letting go, and even starting to see some connection there with our breath, how it's related to our physical, mental, emotional well-being. We can inhale, exhale, sigh it out. Back is flat on the floor, legs long, palms face up towards the ceiling. Notice your breath without any judgment. Notice the quality of your breath. Notice throughout the day, we tend to invite very short breathing that we're not aware of. Here, you're much more consciously present with the breath. I recommend increasing the length of your inhale and exhale more than you're accustomed to. Not to a point that's uncomfortable, but enough where you're realizing you're inviting extra attentiveness, inhaling, expanding your rib cage, exhaling, releasing. See if you can do that for a couple of breaths. Notice you're cultivating an inner stillness here, watching your breath, releasing your to-do lists, arriving to your body, arriving to the mat, arriving to your experience. Another inhale here and exhale, sigh it out. We're going to begin class with a restorative pose. Now that you've taken a few times to notice your breath arrive to your body, we're going to bend both knees so both feet float off the floor and shift into a twist, dropping your knees towards the right. Bringing your arms out to a T and then dropping your head to the left. A twist here for the spine. Soften down your neck to the base of your spine, noticing your hip on the floor and ankle. Once again, noticing that inner stillness. Notice that softening and that letting go of the physical body. And then we can connect that with our mental and emotional body. One more breath here. Bring your knees back to center. Drop your knees towards the left. Turn your head towards the right. To get the full benefit of this twist, your head and your knees face opposite direction. Releasing down the neck, down the spine to your hips, knees, and ankles. Continuously noticing that inner stillness invited at the beginning of class. Softening, letting go. Inhale. Exhale. Come back to center. Float both feet off the floor, hands to knees. Let's extend that stretch in the mid back to the upper back, chin towards your chest. And then release. We're going to lengthen both legs or lift up. And actually, we'll lengthen one leg. Let's lengthen our left leg and press our right foot right against our thigh. We're gonna lengthen our spine, flex our left foot, and then leading through our belly, our chest, let's fold. Relax your shoulders. Inhale, exhale. You're breathing into your hamstring, behind your knees, calves. You can flex your left foot for a more intense stretch, or you can relax your foot. One more breath here. Release, right foot onto the floor. We're going to purposely lengthen that left foot, flex our left foot, and then hook our elbow onto our knee. Now notice any collapsing, notice a collapsing spine, lengthen your spine, and then look towards your right shoulder. You're looking over your shoulder, but your chin moves towards your shoulder. Invite a comfortable breath here. And then release. Bend your left knee, press your foot against your thigh, flex your right foot. You can always allow a little bend to your knee, lead with your chest and heart, and hold. Once again, inviting that inner stillness you invited at the beginning of class. Noticing the full quality of your breath, breathing into your boundary. Folding a little bit more wherever you can. You can keep that right foot flexed, or you can relax that foot. Fold. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Left foot onto the floor. Lift your right arm up. Lengthen your spine. Hook your elbow onto your knee. Twist towards the left. You're looking over that left shoulder. Flexing that right foot, lengthening the spine. Take a comfortable breath. And release. We'll transition into our tabletop. Our hands directly beneath our shoulders. Knees, hips with distance apart. Pressing through those palms, spreading those fingertips wide. We're going to move through cat and cow pose. Place special attention to your lower back, the small of your back, your tailbone, and also around the upper back, shoulders, and neck. These are areas that store tension. So as I lift into a cow pose, I'm going to lift my glutes, lift my tailbone, open up my chest, lift my chin. I'm pressing through my palms. As I round my spine, I'm tucking my tailbone in, my chin inches towards my chest. My shoulder blades separate. I press through my palms here. Now start to move at your own pace with your breath, paying extra attention to your neck, shoulders, and then down to your tailbone, small of your back. The areas that store a lot of tension or soreness or injury. Simultaneously, you're softening and opening up throughout the mid-back. At your own pace. You can remain an extra breath in any of these poses, or you can sync up your breath. And if you do, there's that natural inhale as you're opening your chest in a cow pose. And then there's that natural exhale as you're rounding your spine into your cat pose. Wherever you're at, about one more round or two. And you're gonna look over your right shoulder to stretch out the side of the neck. Drop your head, top of the head, parallel to the floor. Now look over your left shoulder, stretching that side of the neck. Go back and forth, looking over your right shoulder and left shoulder, placing attention to the sides of the neck. And then after you've taken a few rounds here, side body stretch, press that left palm onto the floor, lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release, opposite side. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release. We're going to step down into a child's pose. Take a moment here to gather your breath. Set an intention for yourself. It could be a word or phrase. You can go back to this word or phrase throughout the class. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath. Exhale. Release. Start to plant your hands onto the floor. We're going to lift up into a downward facing dog. You're in this upside down V. Press through your palms. You're bringing your chest closer towards your thighs. Hold. 3 deep belly breaths. Feel free to hear your inhale and your exhale. After those breath cycles, take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hands to shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Second round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Soften. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, and then sweep your arms up overhead. Hands in front of your heart center. Bring your shoulders down. Mountain pose. We arrive to this moment noticing our right palm press against left. Left palm press against right palm. Notice your fingertips. Inviting that inner stillness, that intention you said earlier. We're preparing for 3 sun salutations. Release your hands. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into plank pose. Release down towards the floor. With any modifications there. Press your palms onto the mats. Shoulders away from your ears in your upward facing dog. And then lift up into your downward facing dog. Invite a deep belly breath here. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up. Let's inhale halfway up. Exhale. Release. Second round. Inhale halfway up. Actually, sorry. We're sweeping our arms up overhead, grounding through our heels, lifting up and lengthening up into our mountain pose. Cycle of breath there. We draw our shoulders down, release our hands. Second round, our arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, pull down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, soften your neck, step back into plank pose, release down, and any modifications here as you release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep belly breath. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up 1 round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening the neck. Keep your arms up overhead. You're creating this energy, this flow, this heat in your body. Integrating energy down to your heart center metaphorically. We inhale and exhale. Release your hands, arms lift. Third sun salutation, we release down towards the floor. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening the neck, step back plank pose. Elbows remain close to your torso as you release down towards the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep belly breath. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Ground your feet onto the floor. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Hands in front of your heart center. Let's transition our hands to an alternative mountain pose, this time with our hands framing our hips. Be active in this pose. Feet are grounded on the floor. Either gaze steadily to one point across the floor or room, or keep your gaze or your eyes closed. Notice where your breath is, and notice that by honoring your breath, you're honoring your experience. Inhale. Exhale, release your grounded mountain pose. Notice that transition as you soften the body just a little bit more. We're going to interlace our fingers, extend our elbows behind us. So we're opening up the chest and opening around the upper back by bringing our shoulder blades closer together. Your palms can either touch or not. First, lift your gaze up towards the ceiling, lift your chin. And then bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Stitch those shoulder blades together. You're holding here, softening your neck and head. That's so critical. Dropping your belly towards the thigh. Release your hands down to your shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, second round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, third round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. This time we're going to roll up slowly. Head is going to come up last. Spine lengthens, eyes closed or open. Core active, fingertips spread out. Invite that intention you set earlier. And then once a breath here or two. Release the pose. We're going to lift our arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your heels halfway or all the way up and hold. Gaze is steady. Noticing that paradox of stillness and movement. Release your hands. Paddle your feet back and forth. Paddle your feet back and forth. Now prepare for a tree pose. Taking that left foot to rest on your ankle, shin, or thigh. Different positions here with your hands, your arms. Find any position of that tree pose. Always feel free to step in or out of the pose. There's a huge difference in our experience of a tree pose depending on what time of day, what side of the body, what type of to-do list you have that day. It all influences that tree pose. Or sometimes your days are a bit more windy, or sometimes less windy. Remain in the pose. Take one long, deep, even breath. And release the pose. Pedal your feet back and forth. Chair pose, let's ground that energy. Lift both arms up. You're firing your glutes, your quads. Hold. You're lifting your tailbone. Bend your knees further, forward fold. Please soften your neck. Inhale, halfway up, 3 rounds. After those 3 rounds, either sweep your arms up overhead or roll up slowly. Invite that intention, word or phrase. Check in with the quality of your breath. Either mountain pose in front of your heart center or mountain pose framing your hips. Eyes opened or closed. And then we'll prepare for a 2-legged balance. Lift our arms up overhead. Palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your heels halfway or all the way up. You can experiment here. We tend to hold our breath in balance poses. Be aware of your breath as you're working on this pose, and it mostly focuses on balance, but also it's about strength. Inhale. Exhale, release the pose. Pedal your feet back and forth. You're preparing for tree pose. Right foot on your ankle. Remaining here to start activating the core. You can take that foot higher to your shin, or you can use your hands to lift your leg even higher. Steady breath, steady gaze. Invite that inner silence. Invite it at the beginning. Inhale, exhale, and release. Pedal your feet back and forth. Bend your knees, chair pose. Lifting your tailbone, firing up your glutes and quads, balancing onto your heels, spreading some of that weight into your toes. Arms are stretched out, chest is open. Bend your knees forward, fold over. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, soften your neck. Second round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Third round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Your choice how you come up to standing. Be intentional about how you lift up to standing. And then so seal the standing portion of the class, lifting our arms up overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Move through your vinyasa. Plank pose down towards the floor. Inhale up into an upward facing dog. And then find a downward facing dog. We're gonna prepare for pigeon pose. Right knee towards that right elbow. Hover and then drop your knee on to the floor. Step that left leg back. You can open up the chest, the heart here, lifting. And then start to release. Now you can always remain, keep your torso lifted if there's some pressure there on that right hip. There's varying degrees here of dropping into forearms, keeping your head lifted, or dropping your head all the way down to the mat, or to a fist. About 5 breaths here. Intentionally lengthen your inhale and exhale here. Drop your belly towards the mat. Inhale, exhale. Plant your hands onto the mat. Curl your toes, lift up into your downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. And then prepare your opposite side. Left knee towards your left elbow. Hover and release your knee onto the floor. Step that right leg back. Lengthen your spine a little bit here. Now remember, you can keep your torso lifted as much as you want. You can drop down towards the mat, the floor. Forearms on the floor, forehead all the way to the fist. Inhale. Exhale. Start to curl those right toes. Take your hands onto the mat. Lift up, downward facing dog. If you want to take one last vinyasa of the class, plank pose down to the floor, up to an upward facing dog. Go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we meet in our down dog. And release our knees down towards the floor. Step down, child's pose. Remind yourself of the intention you set earlier in the class. Lengthen your inhale and exhale to support your focus. And after a breath, start to release your child's pose. We're gonna go ahead and lengthen our legs. And then we'll invite that core workout as we lay down. Palms up towards the ceiling. Or make sure you have your chin moving down towards your chest as you slowly release down and hover. Hold here. You're hovering. Feet can float off the floor. Any shaking is fine. And then release. Lift your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, full body stretch. Start to release your hands, your arms. We're gonna bend both knees, rock to the left and to the right. Massage your lower back around your tailbone. Round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards your chest. And then both soles of the feet touch, drop your knees. Let's rest our hands on our belly, our chest. We'll take 3 breaths here before our Shavasana. Inhale and exhale for your day so far. Inhale and exhale for this moment. Inhale and exhale for the rest of your day. Start to release your legs to settle into your last resting pose. Our Shavasana, palms face up towards the ceiling, legs are long. This is a pose to release, to receive, to integrate. We're supporting our physical, mental, emotional bodies. Soften your forehead, jaw, and neck. Down the length of your arms to your wrists and fingertips. Soften and release the upper spine, mid and lower to the tailbone. Soften further on towards the mat from the hips down to your ankles and toes. Observing thoughts and sensations without judgment. And then we'll start to shift our attention back to our breath. Inviting a generous inhale and exhale. Invite some movement to your fingertips and toes. You have the option of inviting a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, interlacing your fingers, and or turn your body to the left or right, to a side, allowing it to remain heavy and relaxed. Once again, return to your generous and your leisurely breath. Here we release our sense of time. There is no hurry. Our bodies are safe and can move at our own pace. And then after another breath or two, start to make your way up to your seat. You've been practicing awareness, self-awareness, and presence throughout the class. Let your body be a vehicle for that, lengthening your spine, drawing your shoulders down. Once again, remind yourself of the intention that you set earlier in the class. And now we'll take our hands to our heart center in honor of our intention. Deep inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. Namaste.